Hey, what's up guys? Today, I'll show you a science fiction horror film from the 90s, The Mimic. Spoiler ahead, watch out and take care. The movie begins with Peter, deputy director of the Centers for Disease Control, showing Dr. Susan around the quarantine facility where hundreds of dying children are infected with a viral virus called Stricker's disease. It is widely spread through the common cockroach, infecting hundreds of thousands, primarily children in the state of New York. Peter explains to Susan that most of these children will not make it, while a few survivors will require leg braces to walk if ever they recover. To eradicate the disease, they need Susan's expertise in the field of entomology. Soon after, while in a hazmat suit, Susan carefully releases the special insects in a controlled environment. The special insects are designed to eradicate the cockroaches that have long plagued the city. As secretions occur, the cockroaches consume them, leading to their eventual demise. The experiment is a huge success. On top of its game-changing effect, these particular insects are also expected to die in 120 to 180 days. 6 months later, Susan explains at a press conference how she came up with the counteragent called the Judas breed, an insect with combined termite and mantic DNA. Susan further explains that the Judas's secretion is toxic to the cockroaches. They are immediately infected with an enzyme that causes their metabolism to go haywire. This reaction is fatal for the insects as they starve to death afterward. The Judas breed is the topmost factor, leading to the end of the pandemic. It's also revealed in the same press conference that Susan and Peter are now married. 3 years later, Peter is called to help investigate a chapel full of slave laborers that are illegal immigrants. The chapel is used as a front for the Chinese triad. The place indicates a high bacterial content, leading to Peter demanding that the entire site and the workers be quarantined. Meanwhile, right in front of the chapel leaves an immigrant father and son with no idea of what lies ahead. On a different occasion, Susan and her friend arrive home when 2 young kids are waiting to sell Susan the bugs that they collected. Susan invites the boys in and shows them her office. They are amazed at the elaborate laboratory. Susan explains to them the importance of the bugs and what their functions are. Moments later, the children hand over to Susan some bugs they have collected and ask for their payment. After the boys leave, a strong wind gushes through the open window, and the 2 ladies try to close it. Unbeknownst to them, a mysterious figure observes them from below. While checking the content of one of the boxes the children left, Susan is surprised that the insect inside seems huge and aggressive. She carefully opens the box and is surprised to see a giant insect. Susan immediately tells her friend to look for the children because she has some questions. Susan then returns her attention to the peculiar insect. At first, she thought it was an adult, but Susan soon discovered that it's just a young insect despite its size. As the insect appears to be harmful, Susan kills it. After taking a closer look, Susan realizes she's dealing with the Judas breed. That insect soon disappears from her table, as if someone broke into her office and set it free. Later that night, Peter expresses his frustration that his wife Susan still works at night. They are in the process of conceiving, and her work seems to interfere consistently. They tried several times and failed each time. Susan informs her husband that the insect that got away matches the one they released 3 years ago. Peter is taken aback, as those insects were supposed to have 6 months of life expectancy. Besides, they are supposed to be sterile. The fact that they can breed is entirely alarming. Soon after, the couple looks for the children who found the bug and traces where they found it. They enter the site at a train station and begin to locate if there are any more of the bugs. A cop then stops them from digging deep. Before the couple can continue their investigation, they are reprimanded and unable to find what they came for. The cop then asks for a permit before they could go back in. Later that night, eager to earn a couple more bucks, the children secretly return to the train station. Collecting bugs means easy money for them. They find a rather giant bug egg. Before they can collect it, they feel a presence watching them. The boys try to flash their lights in the direction of the mysterious figure, but soon get attacked by it, ending their childish lives. The following day, Susan seeks the help of her mentor, the professor. The old professor explains that evolution might have something to do with the survival of some of the bugs. Meanwhile, a little boy, a special child diagnosed with autism, has always been curious about the chapel right in front of their place. He always sees a weird person with funny shoes. The boy calls that person Mr. Funny Shoes. This is the very same chapel that was used by the Triads and has been quarantined by CDC. One night, he's overwhelmed with his curiosity and decides to break into the place. He's then chased by a gigantic bug. Later, Susan receives a call and is informed that the workers at a sewer filtration plant found a giant bug. She immediately goes there with her friend. They're surprised to see the body of a big decomposing bug. Back home, Peter finds out that her wife is pregnant after failing multiple times. As she left before the test revealed the result, Susan is not aware yet. Peter then heads off to the train station to meet up with the cop and his partner to continue investigating the train station where one of the bugs was found. Meanwhile, the boy's father, Shoe Shiner, notices that his son is missing. He immediately calls the police to ask for help, but does not get any assistance as it has not been 48 hours yet. Knowing full well that his son is in danger, Shoe Shiner remembers his son telling him about Mr. Funny Shoes every time he looks out the window. He figures that Mr. Funny Shoes have something to do with his son's disappearance. Shoe Shiner goes to the chapel immediately, breaks in, and begins investigating. After finding no solid evidence, he goes towards the tunnel in a desperate move to look for his son. Back at the tunnels, Peter and the others continue to scour through the tunnel, searching for any trace or evidence of the bugs. They reach an area where the smell is unbearable and where the bugs seem to hide. Next, Susan sent the weird subject they discovered in the sewers to the professor for further analysis. As soon as the professor receives the specimen, he begins the autopsy and discovers that the dead bug was a highly evolved soldier caste, a formidable killer in huge size. What's worse, it's part of a colony, meaning there's more of it. Susan goes back to the empty part of the train station and sees a shadow of what appears to be a man, but Susan is dead wrong. It turns out, the shadow belongs to a large humanoid-like bug. Susan tries to run away, but the bug reveals its wings, traces Susan's smelly ass, flies toward her like a fat drone with its heavy gasoline tank, and grabs her up easily like picking a piece of shit. At the same time, in the tunnels, due to the platform giving up, the partner is separated from the cop and Peter. With no other way to climb up, the cop instructs the partner to retrace their steps and contact anyone from the police department to help, while Peter and cop will remain still until rescue. Later, Susan regains consciousness and finds herself deep in the sewers. She then grabs a steel pipe and navigates through the stinky tunnels, hoping to get out safely. Susan sees people walking by in the streets through the manhole and tries to scream for help. Suddenly, the giant bug emerges behind Susan. Susan uses the steel pipe, stabs the fat drone right in its gasoline tank, before running her smelly ass away. At the same time, the partner tries to find the way out, but instead, he accidentally discovers the nest, where hundreds of bug eggs are just waiting to hatch. The partner tries to get out through the hole beside the nest. After falling down, a bug awakens and immediately attacks the partner, killing him instantly. Eventually, Shoe Shiner discovers Susan in the dark sewers and asks for the cop and Peter's help in getting her out. In an unexpected twist of fate, Susan and her husband reunite, but time is of the essence. A giant bug is tracing their badass. They manage to get inside a train's car and close the door behind them. The bug is able to break in, but it's stopped by the car's door and slows down, possibly because the bug is about to run out of gas soon. In the process, that bug is shot by the cop multiple times, prompting the bug to halt its aggressive advance. The cop is shocked to see a creature so vile and large enough to kill a muscular man. So he demands an answer from Susan, but while waiting for the response, the bug slashes at cop's leg, wounding him badly. In response, the cop shoots the bug's head, but spares its gasoline tank. As the bug is turned upside down, Susan is surprised to see its lungs. Insects are not supposed to have lungs. Peter is also confused, seeing how the Judas could evolve the way they did. They are supposed to die after 6 months. They are not designed and biologically engineered to evolve, let alone become a threat to humanity. The cop, despite being wounded, begins to question why nobody has seen these creatures. Susan explains that the Judas evolved to mimic its predator to survive. Since humans are their predators, they mimic humans. Therefore, detecting them would be challenging. Meanwhile, Shoe Shiner is upset to hear this, knowing that his son is missing due to this experiment. Moments later, more bugs are desperate to break into the train cart. It appears that they are attracted to the smell of human blood and diabetes. Susan and the others do whatever they can to keep the giant bugs at bay. Susan rips some of the dead bugs' internal organs. She asks Shoe Shiner to rub it on the cracked windows to conceal the smell of blood. She also asks the cop to rub it on himself to cover his diabetics and rotten hormones. Susan explains that the bugs won't attack them if they think they are one of them, and the strategy works to their advantage. When the dust momentarily settles, the cop uses a map to check where they can safely escape. The cop suggests that moving the train car will lead them to a safe area. He's unsure if it can still move, as it's been rotting in the tunnel for half a century. All they need now is for the train to move. In order to do that, someone needs to switch the tracks and rewire the system. Given the cop's leg injury, he couldn't do it. Susan tries to volunteer, but Peter can't risk losing her and the child she's carrying. At this point, Susan still doesn't know she's pregnant, and so it's up to the Shoe Shiner or Peter to perform the dangerous tasks. Susan then hands Peter the internal organs to camouflage the scent and to fool the bugs. Also, Susan informs him to stay calm to prevent himself from sweating, because that would attract the bugs' attention. Afterward, the shoe shiner and Peter slowly move out of the car and look for the relay switch. Peter finds the wires, but soon realizes that a bug is near him, but it's unable to detect his scent. Peter rubs himself again to ensure he does not give off a scent. Eventually, Peter manages to turn on the power. Back at the train cart, Susan explains to the cop that they need to kill the male bug to ensure that the female won't be able to breed. When that happens, the whole colony should die. Meanwhile, Shoe Shiner is thrilled to discover that his son is alive, hiding from the bug in the tunnel. Shoe Shiner asks his son to go with him, without realizing that the bug is behind him. It brutally kills the father right in front of his son, ending his shoe shining life. The cop senses that something's wrong, as the shoe shiner takes longer to do what he was asked to do. And so, Susan goes outside, only to find Shoe Shiner has been killed. But fortunately, Susan finds the young boy, and is set to rescue him instead. Later, the cop is able to make the car move, but it's soon derailed. The cop knows he's the last hope for the others to survive. He decides to get out of the car to attract the bug with his bad hormones. He then grabs his flashlight and gun, ready to face the bug head-on. Moments later, he is killed by the bug. Peter keeps searching and eventually finds Susan with the boy. They are safe for now, but not for long. In a desperate effort to save Susan, Peter puts his wife and the boy on a makeshift elevator and pulls on the rope to lead them to safety. While the two are safe, Peter puts himself in a very vulnerable situation. Moments later, his foot is stuck and the bugs are closing in. Peter hits the gas pipe and attempts to start a fire, but his lighter does not work. This is his only chance to save his wife and the boy. Peter is determined to sacrifice himself to kill the bugs by all means necessary. With all his might, he's able to create a spark by hitting the metal floor with a hammer. This results in a huge explosion and kills most of the bugs. But the male bug remains alive and is about to kill the boy. Reacting quickly, Susan creates a distraction by slicing her palm. As soon as the bug smells the blood, it turns its attention to her and starts to close in. Susan runs towards a moving train while the male bug is chasing her. She then evades the train, and the bug gets run over and dies. After the near-to-death experience, Susan and the boy make it out. And later, the professor approaches Susan and informs her that they have already swept the area twice, but they cannot find any signs of life from any bug or human. Susan is heartbroken, but Peter emerges from the tunnels, much to her surprise. Somehow, Peter manages to escape before the massive explosion. After reuniting again and ready to restore their harmony, Peter reveals to Susan that she's pregnant. The movie ends with Peter, Susan, and the boy hugging for their survival. This is Daniel CC Movie Channel. Stay safe and enjoy your day.